and the second indicator for measuring economic performance is inflation rate. Right, last week we finished GDP and the inflation rate, right? So this week let's move on to the third one. The third indicator is about unemployment rate. Okay, it's not employment rate, but unemployment rate. So last week we mentioned to lower the third goal of economic policy, macroeconomic policy, be more specific. So totally we mentioned three policy goals. Okay, so to clarify, just simply speaking, loosely speaking, we want to do three things in macroeconomics. As a government, imagine you are government and your research go under the research subject is a nation. Okay, let's say Canada. So as a Canadian government, we want to, in macroeconomics, we want to do three things. Okay, using in later chapters, we will discuss what is a fiscal policy and a monetary policy. Okay, but we want to use these economic policies to do three things. First, to encourage more production activities. Okay, to encourage more, to promote production activities, like all Canadian business firm producers to produce more. Okay, using the kind of language we learned last week is we want to increase GDP. Okay, generally speaking, we want to increase GDP. The second policy goal is about inflation. We want to control the inflation rate. We don't want the general price level increases so fast. And recall that the goal of the policy is 2% annually inflation rate. Keep the annually inflation rate under 2%. Okay, so we want to stable. Position as we want to stabilize the price level. Okay, the third thing, the third policy goal we will discuss today is to lower the unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is so important, okay, because unemployment just means you need to find a job, right? You need to find a job, at least you can make some basic level income. Okay, once you can make money, once you can make even some basic level income, you can buy something whatever you want. Okay, so the consumption activities can be occurred, can be happened in your country. Okay, so the first step about employment rate is how we calculate, how we really can calculate the number is called the unemployment rate. So before you study economics, you may think, oh, unemployment rate is super easy. I just use the number of unemployed workers divided by the total population size. Yeah, some of you may think, Some of you may think, once again, so unemployment rate just equal to number of unemployed workers divided by the total population. But that's wrong. Okay, but that's wrong. Okay, so you see the formula here, you need to fill the formula here. So we use number of unemployed workers divided by this little part here is divided by, okay, divided by, we do a division here, divided by something called labor force. Okay, something called labor force. The denominator is not total population size. Okay, but it's called something called labor force. Okay, so then let's see number 2. So then what is labor force? Okay, labor force is only part. Okay, it's only a fraction. It's only part of the total population. Okay, so if I draw a graph here to show you guys the relationship between labor force and the total population. So this is a bigger circle representing the total population size. Okay, this is all the people living in your country. Okay, that is a total population labor force. And labor force only is a part of this. So if I label this by population, okay, and this is small circle. So it's a part of this total population is called labor force. Okay, and we can calculate something called, with this graph, we can calculate something called labor force participation rate. Labor force participation rate is the fraction, the small circle representing labor force take up the bigger circle representing the total population size. Okay, this proportion, how big is the labor force relative to the total population size is called labor force participation rate. Okay, averagely speaking, you guys really Google the data. Okay, really Google the data. Averagely speaking, in today's world, countries, I mean the international average, okay, roughly is 50% to 60%. Okay, this is the real data. Okay, 6 out of 10, average speaking, can be called as a labor force. Okay, so by saying this, I mean some kind of people cannot be counted as a part of labor force. Okay, so let's see what kind of people cannot be counted as a labor force. Okay, first two answers are super easy, right? So like a 3 years baby, okay, like a 3 years old baby cannot be counted as labor force. Right, 3 years old baby isn't adult. Okay, so cannot be counted as labor force. Okay, so this is what do I mean by young people, like a 3 years old baby. So those people already get retired. Okay, so those people already got retired cannot be, yeah, naturally cannot be counted as labor force. Okay, and maybe one more example is full-time students. Full-time students, okay, like you guys in the future, you guys will attend a college. So those are full-time college students, because they are full-time student, they don't produce anything. Okay, they just go to college, take courses every day. So they cannot be counted as labor force. Okay, besides these examples, okay, one more example is very, very important. We need to kind of memorize. The one more example is, okay, those are people, due to whatever the reason, they don't want to find a job. They voluntarily quit as a labor force due to whatever the reason. Maybe one good example is a kind of stay-home mom. So they just take care of their babies. Okay, they don't want to find a job. Okay, so if you don't have a job due to the reason you don't want to find a job, you don't willing to find a job. Okay, so if you don't have a job, you lose your job. You not been actively seeking employment. Okay, so in this case, you cannot be counted as a labor force. Again, let's repeat again. My example is called stay-home mom. Okay, they just want to take care of their babies. They don't want to find a job. Okay, so you got a lot of examples, okay, indicating a lot of people actually, by economic definition, they cannot be counted as a labor force. Okay, so you can understand labor force actually only is a part, like a 60% average speaking of the total population size. Okay, so now you got the definition of labor force. So then next step, we can calculate the real, like the unemployment rate. So you just divided the number of unemployed workers divided by labor force. Okay, once again, instead of total population size, but you divided the number of unemployed workers divided by the labor force. Okay, so you got so far got two formulas. Okay, the first one is called unemployment rate, and the other one is called labor force participation rate. Okay, so next part is about 5 reasons. Okay, so we need to figure out next step. Naturally, we need to figure out why you cannot find a job. What is the reason? Okay, what is the kind of the difficulty? Why you cannot find a job? So based on the reasons why you cannot find a job, so we have 5 types of employment. 5 types of employment. Okay, so all these types of employment distinguished by the reason why you cannot find a job. So multiple choice questions will tell you about this different reasons. Okay, why you cannot find job. The first one is called discouraged workers. Okay, discouraged workers. This is the first type of employment. Okay, and the discouraged workers also can be called as a hate employment. So these 2 terms, remember this, these 2 terms is the same. Okay, those are papers, those are questions, kind of can interchangeably use these 2 terms. Okay, those is 2 terms refer to the first type of employment. Refers to the people, they are able to work. Once again, they are able to work. Like they are not, they don't have any disabilities. They are able to work, but who are not actively seeking employment due to whatever reason. Okay, I already gave you guys one example. So, okay, stay-home mom also can be called as like a full-time mom, stay-home mom. They just want to take care of their babies. Due to whatever reasons, they are able to work, but they don't want to find a job. Okay, so this kind of people, once again, is kind of discouraged worker or high employment. So one more question is why? Why this kind of people is called high employment? Why we call them high employment? Because by the definition, right, we already learned the definition of labor force. Okay, if you don't have a job, but if you don't actively seek employment, you cannot be counted as a labor force. Okay, so the type number A, the first type of employment is a kind of the special case. This kind of employment, this group, this category of unemployed workers cannot be counted as a labor force. Okay, so this group, okay, cannot be counted into the officially released unemployment rate data. Okay, so the government, they release employment rate data periodically, but the employment rate as official data, once again, does not include the first type, the first category, the first group of unemployment worker, and something called paid employment. Okay, that is the reason. Okay, that is the reason we call them paid employment, because they are not a part of the force. Okay. Number B, the second type of unemployment is called the structural employment. Structural unemployment. Okay, so one key word really can help you guys to understand this type of unemployment is called mismatch. Actually, I should highlight this one. Mismatch. Mismatch. What do I mean by mismatch? Okay, the skills you have alter the skills required by the employers. Okay, and this mismatch in recent years, okay, largely due to technological change. Okay, so for example, if I was a content, okay, I just do some sample bookkeeping for some kind of a company, right? A content, I just do bookkeeping. Okay, but recently, you guys know ChatGPT, right? With the development of AI, now we got something called ChatGPT. Okay, so next in next couple of years, maybe the ChatGPT also can do bookkeeping. right? It is reasonably accept that ChatGPT really can do some kind of a simple things like a simple bookkeeping. Okay, so my employer, my boss, use ChatGPT to replace all the contents he or she hired. Okay, this kind of implement. So I lost my job. Okay, so this story is called structural implement. Okay, number B, structural implement is also is a very special case. So why this is a special case? Because this is the most difficult type of implement to deal with. Okay, so as a government, you want to lower the implement rate. So you want to encourage all these structural employed workers to find another job. But it's so hard because you need to give some extra career training programs for this kind of people. You need to re-educate them. Because education kind of the time-consuming process, right? You need to teach them some extra working skills, blah blah blah, to find another job. Okay, so the whole process is a kind of a time consuming. Okay, so we can see the structure implement is the most difficult type of implement to do this. The next one is called seasonal. Okay, it's called seasonal implement. So this one is easier, right? Suggested by this name. Okay, you can find a job maybe during summertime. Okay, but you will got implemented during winter time. So this kind of implement usually happens in the agricultural sectors, right? So for example, I'm working as a fisherman, right? So during summertime, I can do my job as a fisherman, especially in Canada. Those fishermen who live in maybe the east coast of Canada. So winter time is so cold, so we don't have any job to do. So this kind of things are called seasonal implement. Okay, number D is called cyclical implement. So cyclical implement, so you lose your job isn't due to your fault. Okay, you have skills, you have qualifications, you have everything, but you lose your job just due to the poor economy. The key word is really the poor economy. Okay, due to the big financial crisis, economic crisis, that kind of thing. So you lose your job, okay, due to the overall economy is a kind of is a decreasing. Like the macro environment, the big environment is not very good. Okay, so we call the the time when the overall economy is decreasing. That like in later chapter we will call this a period as a recessionary period. So during economic recession. Okay, so next chapter, notes number 2, we will repeat this in greater detail. So to tell you guys what is called a business cycle. Okay, but for this moment, just remember cyclical implement happens during economic recession. Okay, so the overall economy is bad, so you lose your job. Okay, for example, the 2008, the first major crisis, we will learn this in next chapter. The first major global economic crisis happened in 1922. And also in the year of 2008, this is the second global major economic crisis is called the Great Financial Crisis. Recently, due to COVID-19, or one more good example actually is COVID-19. Due to COVID-19, you lose your jobs. Okay, this kind of thing can be called a cyclical implement. So due to COVID-19, you lose your job. Okay, it's not because you don't have some necessary working skills. It is not your fault. Okay, it's due to the environment. Okay, number E. Okay, number E is called the fractional implement. Okay, fractional implement is a key word. Okay, you fill that blank by between jobs. Okay, what do I mean by between jobs? Okay, you had a job, but you quit. You quit. Why you quit? You want to find another job. Maybe in another industry, in another city, in another country, maybe. Okay, so you kind of during a transitionary period where you quit the previous one, you want to find a new one. Okay, so this kind of things we call the fraction implement. Okay, so far we mentioned five. A, B, C, D, E. Okay, five different types of implement. Okay, and generally speaking, implement, generally speaking, is a bad thing. Yeah, for sure it's a bad thing. You don't have a job, you cannot make any money. You couldn't afford to buy anything you need. So implement for sure naturally is a bad thing. But one of the five types of implement could be good thing actually. Okay, not all the five types of implement is a bad thing. One of five different types of implement actually is a good thing. It's a good for why is a good thing it is actually good for lower economic development. Which one? Actually, it's number E. Okay, actually, it's a fraction implement. Actually, it's a good thing. Why I'm saying this? Why is this a particular type of implement could be good thing? Simple this. Why number E actually is a good thing? Because it's simple as that, right? Because we already learned labor market in your microeconomics, right? The second lesson chapter is about the labor market. So in that chapter, we learned in that notes number 11, I remember. We learned the equilibrium condition in labor market, right? The equilibrium condition in labor market is called your wage in that chapter also can be called as a marginal factor cost. Marginal factor cost for sure can be called as MFC. Okay, actually it's a worker's wage, right? Okay, and equals to something called MRP. And the MRP also equals to marginal revenue. So basically marginal revenue is the price of a product, kind of related to the price of a product. The price of a product is determined by the market system. Right, you as a labor, so market price. So the price is determined by the supply curve and the demand curve. It's not determined by you. Right, but so why you want to find another job? You want to make more money. Okay, generally speaking, right, the most fundamental reason, right, why you want to find another job? You want to make more money. Okay, so that means you want to increase MRP. MRP is the money you can make for your employer, for that company you are working for. Okay, so if you want to make more money, so professionally speaking, using economic language, that means you want to increase MRP. By finding a new job, your MRP will increase. And we mentioned MRP really determined by these two factors, but marginal revenue determined by the market system. Then you can see, right, the real reason why you can make more money is, okay, when you find a new job, the marginal production, the marginal product is increasing. Okay, like when you find a new job, the marginal production compared with your previous position, your marginal production is increasing. Okay, so in real life, the reason could be, oh, the new position, another job is more suitable. It's more suitable for your background. That is a reason. Okay, if you study, let's see, computer science. Okay, if you learn computer science, when you imagine when you was a college student. Okay, so you need to, okay, ideally speaking, okay, you need to work as a computer science, like a programmer, right? A software engineer, engineer, right? You shouldn't do like a delivery pizza delivery. Right? If you do like a pizza delivery, your wage kind of is a kind of very low. Okay, but after so you quit this job, okay, find a job, you will work as a computer engineer, yeah, then for sure I guess you can make more money. So why you can make more money? Fundamentally speaking, the fundamental reason, okay, is the new position, something called computer science, like especially the computer software programmer is most suitable for your background. Because you learn about this, because you learn computer science when you was a college student, so you can make more money. Okay, and the next step, if every society member, if every Canadians, if all the Americans really can find a job, okay, where they can utilize all the things that they learned from college. Okay, if everybody really can find a job, they can utilize all their skills. That our overall society, our whole country will become more productive for sure. Okay, but we need to spend once again. We need to spend. We need to. But this matching process kind of okay takes a time. Okay, so people need some transitional period to find a good job. Is most suitable for your background. Okay, so this is a called fraction implement. So due to this reason, let's accept, due to this reason, the goal of a government regarding employment rate is never 0%. Okay, we want to lower the employment rate, but we don't necessarily need to lower the employment rate down to 0%. We don't need to do that. We kind of leave some room for fractional employment. It just leaves some room for those people during their career transitional period. Because that is a good thing. Right? We mentioned if they can find a new job, oh, they can be more productive. Okay, so this is so once again, the policy goal regarding the employment rate isn't 0%. Instead of that, we want to lower the employment around something called the natural rate of employment. So you learned a new term here. It's called the natural rate of employment. Natural rate of employment. So this rate also can be called as a full employment rate. In some other older textbook also can be called as a non-accelerating inflation rate of employment. So it's around 4 to 5%. Okay, if we don't need to lower the employment rate down to 0%, then what is the bar? What is the standard? Cut off 4%. Okay, and this 4% has a very special name. It's called the natural rate of employment. Once again, why is a 5%, 4%, 5%? We just leave this much rooms. Okay, for those people can be called as a fraction employment. We just allow some time to allow this let this people to find a new job. Okay, and you guys need to fill the last two blanks. Okay, that is okay. When the actual atom rate equals to 4%, 5%, so-called natural rate of increment. So currently that means your GDP equal to potential GDP. Again, once again, in notes number 2, we will learn this. Okay, we will learn what is a potential implement. And one more thing to memorize, to remember is, okay, with the current implement rate equals to natural rate of implement. So currently that means, okay, there is no cyclical implement. Like among all those workers that got employed, nobody can be counted as a cyclical implement when your current GDP exactly equal to potential GDP. But for this moment, okay, you guys cannot understand, really can't understand the last two blanks you fill. Okay, but that is totally okay, because we will learn this. Yeah, business circle in notes number 2. No questions, right? Any questions? So we finished the first part of the macro. Let's do one example, one practical question illustrate those two formulas, those concept we got from the lecture notes. That is 2018. So we get to go to 2018 question 3. Okay, so this is a good question. It show you guys how you actually calculate the employment rate and the labor force participant rate. Okay, maybe give you guys maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Let's try to finish the question 3 here. And then later we check that. We'll give you guys 10 minutes. Okay, the first question, actually is, if doing the first one can reveal a little bit how to calculate like which country has a neither because opportunity costs are producing one consumer goods is the same for both. Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah, but one thing you need to remember. Yeah, for question number A, one. Yeah, question number A. Question number A actually is an old topic. Yeah, it's a very old topic. Let's brought this in earlier in week number 1. So earlier in week number 1. So one thing I want to remind you guys is the question number A actually is a kind of input table question, right? Input table question. So because of the information got from the question, actually is how many units have one kind of input. And this is by particular input is called human resources measured by labor hour. Labor hour. Okay, so country X, you want to produce one consumer goods. So workers here need to work 1 hour long, right? 1 hour long. Okay, 1 hour long and 2 hour long to produce a unit of capital goods. Okay, country Y, 2 hours to produce unit of consumer goods and 4 hours to produce capital goods. Okay, so you got the 4 key pieces of information. So which country has what? Comparative advantage in producing consumer goods. So first step, what is our comparative advantage? Comparative advantage means compared with your trading partner, you have a lower opportunity cost. That is a key. So you need to kind of calculate what is the opportunity cost for producing capital goods for those 2 countries. But actually, it's super easy. I see OC. OC stand for opportunity cost for country X. Of the capital goods. So I just write down capital. So how you really consider these 2 numbers? 1 hour to produce a consumer goods, 2 hours to produce a capital goods. That means what? Okay, that means in country X to produce. Okay, one more unit of capital goods, you need to sacrifice. You need to sacrifice what? So in order to produce one consumer goods, you need to sacrifice how many units of capital goods, or how you consider this question is, okay, if you don't put the first number here, if you don't use the first number here, like a 1 hour to produce consumer goods, what else you can do? If you don't put this 1 hour, if you don't use this 1 hour to produce a consumer goods, what you can do, what else you can do? Then another option only is to produce capital goods because you only can produce 2 different things. Okay, so the second step, then if you use this 1 hour to produce capital goods instead of consumer goods, how many units you can produce? So you should do a division here, right? 1 divided by 2 equals to 0.5 capital goods. No. Here is a consumer goods, not capital. Make any sense? Okay, so if I need to add units, so half units of capital goods. Okay, this is the first step. So then you do same thing for Y. You do opportunity cost for country Y for consumer goods. Okay, but all the numbers you got for this question actually is super special because if you same thing, right? You do 2 divided by 4, you still got 0.5 and it's the same unit. So this case is very special. You got two countries with the same level of opportunity cost for producing consumer goods. Right? You got same answer. So neither country, so should be neither country has comparative advantage in producing consumer goods. Okay, so your answer is neither. And neither country has a consumer goods. Okay, so this is the question number A. Question number B, calculate the unemployment rate. We just learned this today, where unemployment rate, once again, unemployment rate equals to number of unemployed workers divided by labor force. Okay, divided by labor force instead of total population size, divided by labor force. Okay, so you got five pieces numbers, so five numbers, yeah, five numbers. So what is the total number of unemployed workers? So you got this one, this one, this one. Okay, so the denominator should be, you add up all these three numbers together. Divide by what? Divide by the total population. No, divide by the labor force. So how big is the labor force? Labor force include those unemployed, right? And also include those people who don't have a job, but they are actively seeking employment. So basically, this part, how you fill this blank, what is the denominator? You add up all these four numbers together. So you can get labor force. Because the last row cannot be counted as labor force. Because the question tell you guys, okay, this group isn't in the labor force, cannot be counted as a labor force. You see here, not in the labor force. So beside exclude the last row, all other four numbers, you add them together, you get a total labor force. Okay, you add up all these numbers. Okay, so if you use the calculator, from last year, uh, you can use a calculator. Yeah. Before last year, students cannot use calculator when they take a re-examination. I mean, on the examination day from last year, you guys can use a calculator. Yeah. So make your life easier. You can use a calculator. So the answer, I guess, is a 10%. 10%. Yeah, that 10%, that's right. Okay, the first answer here is right. Okay. Okay, one sweet hot 20%. Or you can get 20%. Okay, so so you use so not in the labor force divided by how you can get the second number here. Okay, so you use the last row divided by the summation of the first row. First four rows. Okay, I guess this one is wrong. Okay, but the correct answer is here. You just apply the formula we learned in the notes. Yeah. And number C, labor force participation rate, and all the labor force divided by the total population. Okay, so we already got the labor force here. Okay, you just use the sum of the first four numbers divided by the summation of all numbers. Okay, so this one. Okay, this one is a 66.67%. That's right. Two-thirds, okay, two-thirds of the total population is the labor force. And the number here is a pretty realistic because we mentioned the real number actually is average speaking is 60%. Okay, the last question. You just draw a PPC. Okay, PPC actually is a graphical presentation regarding indicating the production level, the production ability in your country. Right? If the PPC is far from the orange in here, that means you can produce more. Okay, if your PPC in your country is more closer to the orange in here, that means you produce less. That's it. And how you label the horizontal axis and vertical axis? I guess that's a question will tell you about this. So the consumer goods on the horizontal one. Okay, so here you just label, okay, by the way, quantity of a consumer goods. Okay, and this one is a quantity of a capital goods. Okay, you should check your answers. Okay, make sure you correctly label your horizontal line and the y-axis. Okay, and you just draw a PPC. So one question is, we learned two types of a PPC. Okay, you can either do a straight line PPC or concave PPC. Okay, either is okay. Okay, if you draw a straight line, that's fine. If you draw a concave, okay, curve PPC, that's totally fine. Okay, but really the last step is to label the Z. How you found point Z? Reflecting the current level of implement. What is the current level of implement? Actually, by real life standard, 10% is pretty high. Yeah, 10%. If real life is the unemployment rate is 10%, that is a really, really, really high level implement. Yeah, by real life standard. So some of the workers, right, they are willing to work, but they really cannot find a job. So really terrible situation. So how you label your D? So unimplement means your country cannot utilize all the human resources available in your country. Right? Some people got employed. They have nothing to do. Okay, so you don't utilize all the resources. So that means your current production level should be inside of a PPC. So you just plot and then at any point inside of a PPC, you can get 4 marks. Okay, you can get credit for this question. Okay, anywhere inside of PPC. Anywhere inside of PPC, that's right. That's that. Okay, so if the PPC, if the production point, okay, the point can be cut as a production point. If a production point exactly lies on PPC, that means we are using all the resources and best technology. Okay, so the PPC is a line here representing, right, indicating the maximum production level, representing your maximized production ability. Okay, but you need to use all the resources along with the best technology. Okay, but the overall the picture here is we don't utilize all the resources, all the human resources. And the unemployment rate is so high, 10%. Okay, so I just plotted at any point inside of BBC. Okay, it's a totally enough for the for the last question. Okay, then we finish notes number 1. Let's go on to notes number 2. Okay, in your chat box, you can got your notes number 2. If you need a hard copy, now you can print out a hard copy. Notes number 2 is about, okay, we will build a really basic, very useful model. Once again, it's a model in notes number 2. To explain something like a basic or a basic macroeconomic phenomena using something called the ASAD model. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to make the notes ready. In your chat box, once again, in the chat box. Yeah, oh, okay, I need to make this a public right to everyone in the meeting. Yeah, everyone. Okay, make sure you have your notes on hand. As you guys can see, the title here. Okay, the title here is about ASAD model. ASAD model. Okay, ASAD model is a stands for aggregate. A means aggregate. Okay, aggregate means a total. Aggregate in English just means total. Okay, can be interpreted as a total supply and a total demand model. Professionally speaking, we just call this ASAD model. ASAD model. So ASAD model, the first part, we kind of learn the goal of to build a ASAD model. What is the intention? What is the motivation? We want to build a so-called ASAD model because we want to explain, yeah, one basic microeconomic phenomena is called business cycle. Okay, business cycle, as you can see from the first picture here. So the kind of this picture show you guys something called business cycle. Okay, economic cycle. What is a business cycle? So you see the horizontal line here actually is a timeline. Okay, it's a timeline. Okay, and the vertical axis is a real GDP. The first step for you guys to read every kinds of chart, table, graphs, okay, I recommend the first step is to make sure you need to really figure out you need to really figure out, okay, what is the variable lies on the horizontal line, and what is the variable right lies on the vertical axis. Because we learned so many chart, table, graph, laws. Every time they use, right, we put different variables on the horizontal and vertical axis. So to really to check, the first step into check, okay, who is on which axis, which variable. Super important, okay? Then you can figure out, oh, the graph is about the relationship between time and the real GDP. Okay, and we use the, what else? Okay, so this long straight line, okay, representing the average. Okay, this is an average number, average real GDP, like a growth rate after the Second World War. Okay, if I need to define, okay, what is actually the time interval here? Actually, the starting point of this timeline is after the Second World War. Okay, roughly 1930s, sorry, 1930s until now, kind of, roughly speaking. Okay, and this is called the average GDP growth rate. Average GDP growth rate, and it's 2%. Okay, 2% represented by this long, this black straight, like this line after the Second World War. Okay, but by seeing this, after the Second World War, from 1930s, roughly speaking, generally speaking, all those Western major economy, all those Western major countries like USA, Canada, UK, Germany, yeah, all these countries, after the Second World War, actually their real GDP growth rate, average speaking, is kind of a super low. It's 2%. Okay, it's 2%. But one keyword here I used here is called average rate, average. Right? I guess you guys know what is called average number, right? If the average rate is 2%, okay, that means the GDP growth rate for every year, it's not necessarily equal to 2%, right? For some years, the GDP growth rate could be very high. For some years, the GDP growth rate could be very low. Okay, put it in another way, sometimes, okay, GDP can be, for some good years, for some good time, okay, GDP can be growth. For example, here, right? For example, here. Okay, this is a good time, so-called good time. GDP can be growth, the people can find a job, everything's fine, peace and love. Okay, during this so-called extensionary time. Okay, but after this good time, okay, terrible situations also always followed by this good time. So after this peak, you guys can see, okay, GDP begin to decrease. Okay, so these are fluctuations. Yeah, what we learn from this graph is every country, almost every country, okay, experiences these fluctuations in aggregate economic activities. No one can grow forever. Okay, we will experience these okay 100% fluctuations, ups and downs. Okay, and this phenomenon is called business cycle. Okay, so let's see three features, three properties of a business cycle. Okay, so already mentioned this, right? Those expansionary times, those years when GDP can be increased, is called expansion. Okay, so for those years when GDP lowered, decreases, is called a recession. Recession, okay, particularly we use this term. Recession just means the GDP decrease. Expansion just means the GDP increases. Okay, and this overall, the big picture shows so-called fluctuations, and the fluctuations using one business, one professional term, the terminology is called business cycle. The third thing, business cycle is recurrent, recurrent. Okay, and we don't have a kind of a schedule for business cycles. Okay, how long is the business cycle? Really depends on the real data we collected. Really depends on the real data, especially the GDP data we measured, we collected from the real economy, from the real business world. Like no individual, no government, no human beings can regulate one business cycle must last, for example, 3 years long. There's no such regulation, okay? It's a totally recurrent and totally determined by the real world, but not determined by the economist. Okay, so it's called recurrent. So if you guys really interested, you can Google business cycle. I guess you can get some real data. Okay, we just see what kind of image you can get. Let's see some like a kind of a real data. Okay, this picture just is just is a example, just an example for illustration the concept of business cycle. So this one isn't the real data. You know what I mean? We just kind of smoothed out the real data curve to get this one for teaching purpose. But if you guys interested in the real data, you can Google blah blah blah. Oh, this one. Okay, it's a US business, so I guess this is comes from NBER. Okay, so this one should be real data. So on the horizontal line, you can see this is a time, right? This is like years. So yearly, annually, time series data. So you see kind of here is the lowest point, kind of here is the lowest point, roughly is 2008, and we mentioned about this year, right? So 2008 is the kind of the second great financial crisis, right? Occurred in the year of 2008. So the GDP, here, blah blah blah, decreased really a lot, and after this decrease, so we got a fairly quick recessionary process, recessionary expansionary time here. Okay, and around the year of 2000, okay, you guys may never heard about this. This is called internet bubble. Okay, so the real event happened here is called internet bubble. Okay, internet bubble kind of is an economic crisis. It happened in a particular within the internet industry. Around the year of 2000, okay, those big tech giant companies in US like Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, blah, 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 those companies, you guys know those companies, they lay off a lot of laborers. Okay, and kind of an industry specific crisis is called the internet bubble. So here is 1997. 1997 is called Asia economic crisis. Okay, when the Hong Kong returned back to China. Okay, so there is a one economic crisis, particularly happened in the Asia Pacific. Is in mainland China, Hong Kong, Taiwan. So this one is called economic crisis happened particularly in China. Yeah, and recently, yeah, you guys must know the recent economic crisis. Okay, it's a COVID-19. So this one is called the COVID-19 crisis. Yeah, COVID crisis. Yeah, in last 20 years, okay, in last 20 years, so we have two major economic crises, like financial crisis, and the recent one, most recent one is called COVID crisis. Okay, and you can see from this picture, okay, following this downturn, yeah, for sure the economy will recover. Okay, so the overall this picture is called the business circle. These fluctuations, these ups and downs. Okay, but the next step, but the question back to roughly 100 years ago, like in 1930s and 40s. Okay, during that time, back to that time, nobody know, even those economists, nobody know what is the reason why we must have business circles. Okay, what is the reasons? What is the reasons that can increase like overall GDP? What factors can lower the overall GDP? Okay, we don't know what has those reasons, so we must experience these fluctuations, ups and downs, business circles. Nobody knows what is the reason. We want to explain. So during that time, all economists want to build some kind of a model, to build some kind of a theory to explain the reason why we have business circle. Okay, once we can understand what is the reason lead to these business cycles, what we want to next step in the chapter, we want to kind of smooth out these business cycles. Because a business cycle, these fluctuations, you need to understand actually are bad things. We don't like this kind of big fluctuations. Okay, because the big fluctuations, this business cycle ups and downs, okay, can bring out something called uncertainty. Uncertainty. As a human beings, we don't like uncertainty. Instead of that, we like something called certainty. Okay, let's have a really simple example. Okay, because imagine you are a business owner. Okay, you are running your own bubble tea store in Vancouver. So what is the certainty? What is the certainty for you? Okay, if you're sure about, like the Vancouver economy is a growing, will grow forever, like 3%, 5% every year. Okay, so your business is growing at that kind of with the overall economy. Your business revenue is, if someone can tell you, okay, for sure, 100%, in next forever, your business revenue will grow so like a 5% every year. If somebody can tell you this, you kind of have peace in your mind, right? You don't need to worry about anything, right? Your business will grow. You can make more and more and more money until you get retired. You will make enough money for your retirement. So this is a really good thing, good news, right? Bring out some kind of a peace in your mind. This is called certainty. Okay, but this is not realistic, right? This is not the truth. Because the reality, unfortunately, is that we need to experience these fluctuations. Some years, okay, your business is very good. For some years, due to the COVID-19, okay, due to the bad economy, people got unemployed. Okay, maybe due to the war between the Russia and Ukraine. You see, due to a lot of reasons, COVID-19, due to a lot of shocks. Okay, we have these fluctuations. So naturally, we don't like uncertainty, right? We don't like uncertainty, right? So the macro policy, we want to use macro policy to smooth out. What do I mean by smooth out? Okay, if this fluctuation is a too big kind of, it's a too extreme in either directions. Some years is a too good, some years are too bad. We want to smooth out. We want to kind of, yeah, we want to kind of stabilize our macroeconomy. Okay, to generate something called certainty. Okay, like this green line I did here. Okay, but to do this, to smooth out the business cycle, the first step, as I mentioned, okay, is to research, is to learn about what actually is the reason, okay, why we have these fluctuations. Regarding the answer, why we have fluctuations, kind of different people have different idea. Okay, professionally speaking, yeah, if you guys learn about some so-called something called history of macroeconomic idea, kind of. If you learn about the history of the development of economics, macroeconomics, we have something called a school of thoughts. You guys know that. Okay, so good. What do you do about school of thoughts? Okay, if in the future, if you guys really learn macroeconomics, basically different types. It basically means the different types, different kind of a macroeconomics. So they have kind of a different ideology. Yeah, they have a different method, okay, to explain the overall macroeconomy phenomena. So you guys may heard about this something. We will learn two different actually called school of thought. So the first one is called classical economy, the other one is called Keynesian economy. Okay, so basically different people just means that different people have a different idea regarding why we have those business cycles. So let's see what is called classical economic theory. Classical economic theory generally refers to those earlier economic idea. What did you remember earlier, before 1936? before 1936. Okay, all those like earlier, very earlier economic ideas, theory, blah, 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 can be called as a classical. Okay, can be called as a classical theory before 1936. The heart, the central, the heart of a classical economic theory is called C's law. Okay, C. Okay, is a famous economist. It's a French economist, and the full name is a French. I don't remember. Okay, but we just call this a statement raised by somebody called C as a C's law. So let's see what is a C's law. So supply creates its own demand. That's it. By classical theory, by something called the C's law. How they explain why we have business cycles. Okay, so based on C's law, supply creates its own demand. Okay, that means any production activities that happened within your country. Okay, for sure, 100% can generate income. And finally, why people make income? Finally, ultimately, people make money for spend them. So by seeing this, okay, based on this law, we don't need to worry about the demand side of the market. As long as something can be produced and all the people involved in the production process can make lots of money. And ultimately, people will spend the money. Why you make money? Ultimately, you want to spend your money. So based on this law, okay, the central idea is that we don't need we learned about supply and demand curve, right? We don't care about the demand curve. Demand curve is less important, but more careful, but more important things. We need to care about the supply side of the market. Okay, if the supply of the production activity can be growth, and then the overall GDP will grow. But we don't need to care about the demand side. Okay, so Cicero, this is a Cicero. Maybe it's kind of very confused. So let's have a more specific example to illustrate what is a Cicero. So actually, we used this example before in the notes number 1. So this example I use to illustrate, to explain what is called the income approach, how we use the income approach to calculate GDP. So remember, when we learn about income approach, my example was, oh, I am a producer. I'm a business owner. I have some kind of a little factory. Okay, can produce something called a toaster. And by producing one more toaster, it can make $20 for each toaster I make. $20. Okay, and you guys also learned microeconomics. You make $20, you got $20 from your customers. This does not mean that you can make all these $20, right? You need to kind of transfer some money to those people who help you, who contributed production factors for your overall production process. So let's see into pay wage and salary for workers, right? For human resource. So let's see $6. $3 to suppliers who supply the raw materials, okay, for your plant. Plus $1, you pay this $1 to a landlord because you are renting a building for your factory. Assuming you only use these 3 production factors and the remaining $10, that is your personal profit. That is a profit earned by the business owner. Okay, that is you. You see, price of everything. Okay, price of everything. Okay, price of apple, price of a banana, price of a TV, price of a car, price of everything. Either goods and services traded in our real economic market system can be break down into different numbers. Okay, we just can split this overall big number, $20, into smaller numbers. And all these smaller numbers actually are income made by different people who involved in this production process. As long as you contribute something for this production, you can get some money. And if we add up everybody's income together, all the money made by different people together, okay, must be equal to the price of the product. Okay, this is the first step. Second step, okay, based on Cicero, based on classical theory, think about that why people make money. Why you make money? Why the workers, or why they want to work for this from the factory for making this $60, sorry. Okay, why you build your own business? You make $10 a year. Okay, why your landlord lend out their building for your business because they can make $1 here. It's because of the rent. Everybody made money here, and why people want to make money? Ultimately speaking, to spend this money for purchasing whatever they want. It is hardly to find a situation you make some money, but you don't willing to spend your money. So that is a pretty weird. You try your best, you try your every effort for making some money, but so naturally you want to spend your money, right? Right, you go to the market, you find something, whatever you like, you spend your money for purchase them. Yes, that is a goal for making money. You want to spend them, ultimately speaking. This is a kind of classical theory. So the final conclusion is, oh, if we assume everybody will spend all their income, so we don't need to care about the demand curve actually. If we can supply something, if we can produce something, then the demand will be there. We don't need to care about, we don't need to worry about the demand side of the market. So the supply curve, supply side kind of is more important. Well, as long as we supply something, the demand curve will be there. And for sure we will build this trading economy. So the GDP will grow. Okay, and supply, and one more thing, supply. There's the next step. One final question we need to consider is how many things, how many different goods and services we can produce within country in long run and ultimately determined by these two things, resource and technology. Resource and technology. Ultimately, okay, if your country has a lot of resources, countries like USA, Canada, Australia, blah, 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 these are bigger countries, Russia, India, China, these are bigger countries have a lot of resources, so they can produce more things. Okay, and the people and not people, and the countries like Japan, like Germany, okay, like USA, if you have stronger technology, more advanced technology, then also they can produce a lot of things. Okay, and we put everything together. So based on classical economic theory, GDP in long run, once first thing only kind of determined by the supply curve, but not the demand curve. We kind of don't need to care about demand curve because the people make money ultimately, they will spend their money made. Okay, and in long run, supply curve determined by these two things, the technology and the resource. Okay, this is basically is about the classical economic theory. Okay, but finally, it turns out classical theory kind of is wrong. it's a kind of a partially right, but overall speaking, classical theory is wrong. Why is it wrong? In 1929, something happened. If you guys learn about world history, US history in 1922, so in 1922, is that what I said before? In 1922, something happened. Okay, this is a difficult year in human history. In human being history, in 1922, something called the Great Depression happened in the 1922, and this is the first major global economic crisis. So the GDP decreased really by a lot. So the GDP decreases and the unemployment rate is very high. Yeah, basically, Great Depression is a really terrible thing, and it happened in 1923, and the GDP decreased really by a lot. Okay, so based on economic theory, supply is determined by resource and technology, right? So that means if GDP increases, okay, that must be due to either increasing resource, either due to a made great processing technology level. Okay, if we consider this series of opposite way, then if GDP decreases, okay, so the reason must be either decline in resource, either in decline in technology. Okay, but the truth about the reality is in 1922, okay, in USA, there is no decline in resource. No kind of natural disaster happened in that year. And no decline in technology. Because in human beings history, every year every time we always accumulate the knowledge. Right? It is kind of impossible to have a decline in technology level. Okay, so the classical theory in 1930s. In 1930s, it turns out something wrong. So my question is, what is the problem? What is the problem? So the overall reasoning here is a kind of has some problem, right? So what is a drawback of a classical theory? And what is a good thing about classical theory? Okay, that is a question. What is a drawback? What is a problem? What is the problem I have here in this overall reasoning process? Like a supply really determine GDP because the people made money for spend them. Okay, so if we supply everything, produce more things, then people make more money, then people will buy more things. So the overall economy will grow. Sounds like a reasonable explanation, but what is the problem? Okay, so the answer, so that nobody, okay, so I don't get any response. Okay, so let me show you guys the answer, because the answer actually is the time span we considered here is super simple. It's called a single time period. Single time period. We are considering kind of a lifelong time. So kind of we are talking about, oh, we just live once. We just live once. So you make money ultimately before you die. Before you die to spend all the money. That's true. That's true. If the time span, if the time period we are considering here is called a single period. So we can say, oh, if we live once, we make $1 million. So before we die, we need to spend all this $1 million. So this is a reasonable. Okay, so we are considered a very long single time period. It's about the time span. Okay, so if we consider this a single time period, classical theory is right. Okay, so one thing you need to write down here is that classical theory is good at to explain the long run, kind of they are doing some long run research, long run, because we are considering a lifelong time, like a time period. It's good at to explain long run economic growth. Okay, the long run economy really determined by resource and technology. This part is right. This part is right. This is a good thing. This is a good thing contributed by classical theory. Okay, but the problem is classical theory isn't right for a short-run situation. Okay, let's have a more realistic example. Usually when we think about our life, okay, usually we are considering a smaller, how to say, the smaller time interval, shorter time interval. Okay, you will how to say, you will let's see the life expectancy is 80 years. So you will live for 80 years, like 80 years, if the time interval we are considering here is a annually time interval. We just don't consider a single time period. We will live in it for 80 years. 80 years. Okay, so you need to consider sometimes you make a lot of money this year, but you don't spend all of them in this year. You do some savings for the future consumption. Okay, for the time span we are considering here is a shorter time period. So in this particular time period in current year 2024, the demand should be lower than the supply. By saving part of your current income for the future consumption, you see, that is a key, that is a problem. That will lead to a situation, this will lead to a situation where the current demand, people's current demand is always lower than supply. But if you are considering single time period, like a lifelong time period, kind of the supply always equal to demand. So we mentioned, as long as we can produce more things, okay, the demand, people will spend money, so the demand will always equal to supply. But the situation is too ideal, too ideal. Okay, but the more realistic is that the demand is lower than the supply. Okay, this is called Keynesian theory. Okay, we mentioned the classical theory ended at the year of 1936. Okay, and in the development history of a macroeconomics idea, 1936 is a very important year because a very famous person called Keynes, okay, in that year published a very important book titled by the General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money. So in this book, okay, this guy points out the major drawback of a classical theory is just like what we mentioned. Okay, the classical theory, let's repeat again, wrongly assume supply always equal to demand. because the time span they are considered kind of is super easy. Is called a single time period. Okay, but if we consider the real life, yeah, more realistic idea is we are considering as a human being, you should consider what will happen in the following 3 years or 5 years. You usually don't consider what will happen in the like a 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. Okay, we are considering a shorter period of time. Okay, so as I mentioned, right? So you do savings. You do savings. You don't spend all your time currently. You do savings, you save part of your current income for the future. Okay, but back to better understand what is a Keynesian theory, okay, we build something called AICD model. Okay, so in this page, let's try to draw the graph here. So supply curve and the demand curve. Okay, just like the supply curve and demand curve we did for macroeconomics, but listen up, this is very important. Okay, the major difference between AICD model and the supply curve and demand curve model you did in macroeconomics is in microeconomics, we are learning a specific single particular, whatever the term we want to use, the market. We are studying a particular market in macroeconomics. What do I mean by particular market? So in a particular market, the market is a market for exchanging a particular product. Let's say apple market, banana market, bubble tea market. Each market trade is for trade a particular specific product or services. That is about microeconomics. Kind of is an individual-based market. What do you mean by individual? The market is for an individual, just a single particular product. Okay, but the market system we build here is for the whole country. Okay, you really need to add a title for this one. It's called the USA. We are learning about the whole country. Okay, instead of a particular industry, we are learning about whole country. So we include everything. We include everything, every kind of goods and services we're producing in USA together into this market. So in macroeconomics, we label the horizontal line by quantity of apple, quantity of banana, quantity of bubble tea. But here we label the horizontal line by real GDP because in the first chapter of macroeconomics, where we use real GDP as a measurement, as an indicator. Okay, for the goods and services, for the level we can produce. And here we label the inflation rate to reflect, to indicate the general, the average price level. So this one is called, not inflation, sorry, it's called price level. Okay, it's about the general, the macro price level. And the second difference is between AICD model and the supply demand model is in this model, we totally have three curves. Three curves. In micro, we just have we have two, but here we have three. Why? Because we have two different versions of the supply curve cutoffs. This one is called a long AS. And this one is called a short run AS. And this one is called the aggregate demand. Okay, we don't have a long run AD, short run AD. We just have one single so-called aggregate demand curve. But then we have two different supply curves. Okay, the first one is called a long run AS. Okay, from a long run, if we consider a long is a longer time interval. If we consider long run economic questions, we use long run as. Okay, if we consider we care more about the short run. Okay, something happened during like the following 1 year, 2 years. If we are considering short run, shorter time interval, we use a short run as. The intersection of all three curves is called a long-run equilibrium. For example, we can label this one by bigger E. E means equilibrium. The intersection of a long-run AS and the horizontal line can be called as a YF. And the YF is called the potential GDP. Potential GDP. And we mentioned potential GDP by the classical theory. Classical theory determined by resource and technology. Okay, potential GDP is determined by resource and technology. Okay, and this long-run GDP once again is the intersection of the horizontal line and the long-run AS. Okay, if we are considered the long-run case, okay, classical series are right. We mentioned classical series are right is good at explaining the long-run macro phenomena. Okay, so in long run, okay, how many things we can produce, we can supply, determined by research and technology, that's right. So that means long run economic growth has no relationship with short run price fluctuations. That is a fundamental reason why long run S is a vertical thing, it's a vertical law. Okay, by draw this vertical line, so that means long run S has no relationship with the price level, right? You see, what I'm doing here is if the price level is very high, okay, long run S as a Y is here. Price level is very low, is here, can be even lower. There's a potential GDP still is here because we didn't mention any change in terms of resource, in terms of the technology. Okay, so once again, long run AS is a vertical. Okay, it's a vertical. Okay, intersects with the horizontal line at YF, and YF is called potential GDP. Potential GDP determined by resource and the technology has no relationship with the price level. Okay, but short-run AS is a short-run if we are considering a short-run, shorter period of time. Short-run AS, okay, is a positive sloping curve. Okay, it's a positive sloping curve. So just like the supply curve you already did in macroeconomics is a positively is the upward sloping supply curve. So basically the general price level increases during shorter period of time. All the producers are willing to produce more. So positive relationship, so short-term AS is a positively curve. AD, okay, AD is a downward sloping curve. It's the same compared to the situation, compared to the demand curve we did for macroeconomics. It still is a downward sloping curve. Okay, so after this, I guess. You can feel, I guess, now you can feel this part. You guys didn't feel this part. So AS, A just means aggregate. Once again, aggregate means a total. Okay, we once again we include everything. Okay, we include everything in this supply current demand curve. Okay, we in macroeconomics, we don't distinguish, we don't need to tell the difference, what actually the same we are producing here. Okay, as long as those goods and services are produced within Canada, we include them into this graph. we include them into our supply model in the supply curve. Okay, so it's a supply of everything. It's not a supply only, maybe apple, banana, bubble tea. Okay, and we mentioned about this, right? Long run is based on classical theory. Once again, classical theory is a theory about long run economic growth. It's not useful. It's a pointless for short-term situation, but it's a good for long economic growth, determined by resource and technology. And it's a vertical curve, okay, causes the potential GDP, okay, only determined by resource and technology. So it has no relationship with the short-term price level. And we mentioned short-term AS is a positively sloping curve, and the AD is a downward sloping curve. But a more a how to say, like a formal explanation to explain like why AS short-term AS is a positive sloping curve and why AD is a downward sloping curve. We need more like a more seriatic or more formally explanation. For short, we can say, oh, YAS is a positive sloping because the producers want to make more money. Okay, like why the AD is a downward sloping, but generally speaking, okay, when the general price level decreases, people want to buy more. Okay, but next time, okay, we will do some more theoretical, more systematic, more formally explanation. Okay, to explain like, why short-term ES is a positive sloping, AD is a downward sloping. Okay, but we will do this next time because we are running out of time. But we stopped here, right? But we mentioned, but we explain like why long run ES is a vertical curve based on the classical theory. Once again, because of super important. Okay, once again, because only determined by resource and technology. Okay, has a no relationship with the price level. But this week we can do maybe one more calculation about the inflation rate, I guess. So this one we can do 208 Form B questions, right? You should be able to finish this one because we finish inflation rate. So 208 Form B and the questions, right? Okay, no questions that is for this week. Yeah. See you guys next time.